Anyway, it's time for take 3. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Formula One Fans UK podcast. I'm Reese and I'm joined today by
Danny.
And the magical man that is Chris is back.
Chris is back.
Sorry guys, it's been a while.
Yeah, we apologise for this one coming later than usual. It's not because it took us this long to wait, Chris. It's because we had some recording issues, but everyone's actually recording now, aren't they, Danny?
Yes.
I've made 3 podcasts in a row. That's a record.
Chris
Dedication.
and I have made 3 podcasts this week. You'll only hear one of them because this is the first time that Danny's actually pressed record and it's worked.
And Daniel's not here, the wanker.
You've wasted no time.
Well, I've been abused for the last how many podcasts haven't been here. So I'm going to give the dickhead some abuse. I'm off DJing. Boom, 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 boom. And the other dickhead, Tim, up on top of a flipping volcano.
Yeah, Tim is on a volcano in Armenia. Yeah, make of that what you will. It's a heck of an excuse to getting out of a podcast, I think.
I reckon he's at a Russian training camp. Joining the motherland.
In Soviet Russia, Tim join you.
You want to join Tim? Da. It's been watching too much Stranger Things.
Tim's like, do you guys want me? And they're like, niet.
Niet. I will come anyway. Accept me,
They're saying,
please.
no, we weren't expecting special forces.
Very special.
Well, look, I'll defend Tim here. I think it's pretty neat. that he's out there.
It is pretty cool, but
exploring the world.
He prioritizes everything else over us. You know, it's either he's at a hill, he's at a volcano, he's walking in a field. There's always an excuse.
Yeah, I mean, walking in a field. Let's face it, in the middle of what was still pretty much lockdowns, he was still managing to find fields to walk in.
I will. This is the only time I'm ever going to say it, to make the most of this race and make sure you're recording it, Danny. I give Reese respect points today. Today is Friday the 24th.
Yeah.
Reese has been up since 4 o'clock this morning working, and he has made it. Where are you guys? Where are you?
Reese looks sleepy.
There's no escaping it. Yeah. The glasses are on today. That's how tired I am. But shall we talk less about how tired I am and more about Formula One, because that's what we're actually here for.
Good thing you didn't watch the last races at this state of you. You know, you definitely.
Oh no, trust me. I think Baku sent me into this state, to be honest.
Man.
Baku, since you've last heard from us, there's been 2 races, Baku and Canada. Baku was a bit of a snore fest. Whenever it looked like there'd be an overtake, someone was either passed way, way, way before the braking zone, or they were told not to fight into the braking zone. Leclerc broke down. More Ferrari cars broke. My weekend was ruined by Carlos Sainz again. And that's pretty much all she wrote on Baku.
I was truly disappointed with Baku. I was disappointed for and disappointed with Sergio Perez and the way Red Bull treated him to start with and the way he drove. I think he just gave up. I hope he.
Yeah, when you're told not to fight, when you're told 2 days before you're in the championship fight, I think that's going to be pretty soul crushing.
I hope he gave up, and that explains his lack of pace.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's nothing else you can really say. The Mercedes bottoming out, that is dangerous.
That was concerning.
That's cornering on dangerous.
When he took so long to get out the car, you could tell he would not have passed the extraction test. If there was an accident,
yeah, exactly,
he would not have got out of that car.
But the abuse that he has got for that, and Mercedes have got.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's faking it.
Yeah.
It's quite funny because
they're overdoing it.
there's a post on Lewis Hamilton, and it's saying, "Oh, he's putting it on, he's faking it, he's just doing it to try and get the other team to slow down." Then Pierre Gasly will say something about it, and they'll say in the comments, "Oh, Lewis Hamilton is faking it, he's overacting." It's just like there's not even any reference to Lewis Hamilton in that, and they still find a way to.
George said it, Gasly said it, and neither of those got any stick.
Ricardo said it.
Ricardo said it,
and none of them got stick for it. It was only Lewis. I'm fed up of the bashing that he gets. That's Moran.
My worry
at this point.
So, my worry with this, with the porpoising and what it can lead to,
but that wasn't porpoising. That wasn't porpoising.
That was bottoming out.
But porpoising leading up to the bottoming out of the car.
Toto Wolff's even said that they were on top of porpoising. It's just the case that the tracks they've had since then have been street circuits.
Yeah, they've said to get rid of the porpoising, they've had to completely stiffen the car up, and because of that, it's bouncing off the circuit. So it's not the porpoising that was causing that in Baku.
Well, for Montreal, they raised the ride height then, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Which was probably helped because everyone had to raise their ride height because it was wet in qualifying, and you can't run a low ride height in wet qualifying.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you will just aquaplane straight off the track.
But how did the worst car to be driven in Canada end up third?
Well, it was probably because they gave him George's set. They tried two different floors, didn't they, on Friday? And obviously they went back.
The other floor had the second stay in, which they then thought was going to be deemed illegal, even though the FIA said they could have it.
Yeah, well, then the other teams started kicking off, didn't they? But we won't name names.
No, Ferrari.
And we'll move on, shall we, to the race that was actually exciting. Well, we'll move on properly from Baku to the race that was actually quite exciting.
Can I say something before
Canada.
about the race?
Yeah.
Oh, Canada.
Big, huge thank you to the officials, the stewards, the race director, the panel, the safety car driver, the passenger, the doctor, the medics, the marshals, everybody that let FP3 and qualifying go ahead. Because somebody's finally realised that the drivers have got balls and know how to drive in the wet. And the qualifying was fantastic.
Yep.
Good qualifying.
Couldn't have put it better myself. And the qualifying was probably the best of the V6 era.
Yeah. It's right up there. Right up
It's up there. It's up there for sure, yeah.
The wet sessions are always the best
people going
sessions.
off and crashing for it to be amusing.
No, there was three cars went off at most?
3 cars went off, and to be honest, 2 of those were just little lose it moments, recovered, carried on. And then you had Russell, which was pretty self-inflicted.
Oh, but we wanted to see it. We wanted to see somebody on slicks.
We wanted to see it, yeah, but there's no other way of saying it. It wasn't. It was just self-inflicted.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he delivered, though.
Fair
He
play.
delivered.
You know, he had his lap in the bank, so, you know, respect.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
And he had a good drive. Ended up in 4th anyway.
Yeah.
Still a solid drive. He's so consistent.
But again, disappointed from Ferrari.
Yes and no. I think they made a mistake. They must have. Even if it was a set of 1 lap used scrub tyres for the mediums, they should have put Sainz in the mediums because that would have given them that edge coming out of the final corners.
Yeah, it was driving
to
off.
hound Verstappen.
Yeah,
because he'd be like, oh, here's Carlos Sainz. He's 4 tenths behind going into the hairpin, and then going out the hairpin, he'd lost 2 tenths.
What can you say, really?
Yeah. He definitely would have benefited from the extra pace that the medium tires would have given him in the first 5 laps. He definitely would have benefited. It would have been a different story, maybe. But, well. And
don't forget that even though people say, oh yeah, Max on the hard tyre and he would have just come back in, Max's hard tyres were not fresh hard tyres.
No.
He had those before the Tsunoda accident.
Yeah. That was stupid. You know, they sat and said how Max... Was it Max or was it Charles? No, it wasn't. It was Alonso. Went back and watched the wet race from 2011 to get, up to date with how they were driving the track and where they were driving on the track, etc. all you had to do was go back to a few of the highlights of the Canada races that even popped up on TikTok or whatever. And there was the crash in 2007. Was it Jarno Trulli in a Toyota? Did the exact same thing Yuki Tsunoda did.
Yes, no, you're right. Yep, that's exactly what happened. It was Jarno Trulli, 2007. Just drove straight out the pits and into the pit wall. Into the wall, yeah. I mean, Trulli sort of... I think Tsunoda was worse because Trulli, it sort of went as he got the power back down. It just stepped out on him and he went off. Tsunoda just straight out braked himself coming out the pit.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry, you do that so many times over a weekend. You shouldn't be making that mistake.
Yeah. I know it was a green track, but still.
Even Latifi didn't do that.
That said something.
Finally.
You say we laugh, but the top 16 streak does continue.
I have a friend.
Consistency.
I have a friend, and every week we text each other and say, who's going to crash first? And each week one of us answers Latifi, and the other will always answer Stroll.
Really? Not Schumacher?
No, come on, Schumacher's not a bad driver. It's a couple of
but he crashes. He's crashy.
Michael Schumacher crashed. You can make a fast driver.
When though?
Who doesn't crash? To be honest,
you can make a fast driver slow down.
You say this. You say who doesn't crash. The one that comes to mind is his teammate. How many times have we actually seen Pierre Gasly crash on his own?
I experienced it. Pierre Gasly isn't his teammate.
Yuki Tsunoda's? Oh, shit. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
Magnussen?
No.
There. Well, no, Magnussen crashed quite a lot.
Mick Schumacher's trying too hard. And
he's trying too hard.
You can always bring a driver
first point.
back from that. You can't push the driver up to that, but you can bring them back. All he needs is to be brought back.
Yeah.
I think if he got into a faster car, I think he has the potential. And I'm not saying that because he's Michael's son.
Well, you put him in a faster car, you probably end up like a Valtteri Bottas who will win a couple races. But I don't think...
Hang on, stop. Stop.
Say that again?
Say
Bottas.
robot. Say robot.
Bottas.
No!
Say robot.
Robot. Bottas.
There we go. Say it two words together fast.
Bottas.
Bottas, yeah. There you go. From now on, you're not allowed to say Bottas. I'm looking forward to Silverstone this week to listen to the bloody PA calling the GP2 drivers by their stupid, weird names. Last year, they were calling Daravula. And there was a lot of drivers were getting bad pronunciations. And it does not, as everybody knows, when it comes to PDR and his mediums, these things do my nuts. Things have got to be said properly.
Well, look, going back to Mick, he's cost that team a lot of money with his wrecks. And
he's cost them at least $2 million across 2 crashes this season. I don't think
for financially next year he's viable to be on that team. They need somebody lower risk.
Unless he turns it around.
Return. Yeah, you're right.
K-Mag's signed for 2 years. K-Mag's there next year.
Yeah, but I'm saying, they might look for another teammate similar to K-Mag in that mold.
Monaco wasn't a fast crash. Monaco just showed how the car is designed to come apart.
Oh, yeah, no, but that wreck still would have cost that much money because you're having to do a whole new floor.
Yeah. But the gearbox being peeled apart is where the big money was at. But he's designed to do that. It was just a bad angle for a crash.
Yeah, but you know what would have saved it? Not crashing.
Yeah.
Like I say, sometimes the drivers are pushed too hard. And you watch Drive to Survive and see Gunther Steiner and what his attitude is like with the drivers at times.
Whoa, hang on. You watch Drive to Survive and you only watch Drive to Survive and you think that Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz hate each other's guts.
Oh, there is that. But Gunther Steiner has always been very vocal about his drivers.
He's aggressive. He's a bit of a pantomime villain.
But if he was my boss, I would be trying harder and crashing.
Yeah.
And the car's probably dog shit to drive.
The Haas?
Yeah.
No, not this year.
No, the Haas is good this year.
Yeah.
The Haas is good this year.
Many points have the drivers got?
I can understand, though. I can understand what you're getting at. We put too much pressure on people. I look at Ferrari this season. I wonder if the pressure and the expectation of the early success is what led to their downfall this year, because it all looked so brilliant and the expectations were so high. But since then, there's been multiple engine failures, hydraulics failures, retirements, bad pit calls, bad strategies. They've really, really thrown it away this year, Ferrari. And we're only, 7 races in?
I think they're struggling to keep up with Red Bull in the update game. And they're throwing updates on too fast, maybe.
I think it's not helped by the fact... I think the car itself is brilliant. I think, like you saw in Monaco in the dry, that the Ferrari was great. You saw the Ferrari, how brilliant it was in the hands of Leclerc up until he broke down in Spain. I think a problem they have to deal with is a lot of modern tracks in Formula One have ridiculous straights. And it just seems to have been a trend that every time a new track is designed, it's the longest straight ever on a street circuit. It's the longest straight ever in Formula One. This track here it's a Tilke thing, it feels like, almost, because you look at the straights in Malaysia or China, for example. China's straight is massive down the back straight.
Without a long straight and a hard stop, you're not going to have any overtaking.
Yeah, well, you say that. Silverstone.
Long straight, 2 long straights.
2 long straights, yeah, but you can still overtake at other places. You see people going around the outside of Luffield.
Yeah.
You see overtaking in cops. You can see overtaking in cops. Stowe, Club. You see overtaking the Vale chicane. I mean, there's overtaking there.
Silverstone's
there's a lot of overtaking.
Silverstone's a wide open track that allows for overtaking anywhere.
I'm excited for Silverstone this year with how the cars can follow close. I think we'll see a lot of passing after Maggots and Beckett's.
And down the Hanger Straight.
Yeah.
And I feel it'll be at Woodcop before Cops.
I think a little bit
the Wellington Straight.
I think a little bit Club Corner.
You'll be in Club?
Yeah.
So you get a good view of the start, finish, and
into the Vale, through Club. I think that's where the overtaking's going to be. Just,
that would be awesome. I hope it is. I hope it is for you, though.
Yeah. Well, just look at the Australian Grand Prix this year. That doesn't have the most ridiculous straights, but it still produced a lot more action this year, just with the way the cars are. But yeah, getting back to my earlier point, the way that a lot of modern tracks are designed in Formula One to have these ridiculously long straights. I mean, a straight, yeah, you need a long straight in a braking zone, but you don't need the straights to be as long as they've been. And that's where Red Bull are at such an advantage. Formula One is very power dominant now, it feels, because if you've got the best engine by a long shot, it just feels like you can just drive over everyone.
Yeah. Look, as we saw in Mercedes in 2014, 15, and 16, they just had the best power unit in the grid. They still had a really good chassis under them, had good aero package, but that engine just was the difference in those early years of the hybrid era. We're seeing it now with Honda. Honda has evolved, and now they have a very strong power unit, and they just seem to overrun everyone on long straights. What's that?
It's the Red Bull part.
No, it should be called the Red Bull Mercedes Engineers Honda Project. No,
Daniel would have found that funny, but he's not here. I could hear him swearing away in the background at his house, probably sitting on the bog as usual.
He turned up to the original recording on Monday without a shirt on, and that was shocking, harrowing.
It was the most terrifying thing I've ever seen, and I've seen some scary shit.
Let's face it, Chris has served in Iraq, and still down without a shirt on is the scariest thing he's ever seen.
Well, the problem was, earlier, somebody phoned, and I answered, and there was Dan sitting on the throne. It's like, really? Do you have the answer right now?
Where's Dan from again?
Dan lives down in he lives down in the southwest.
All right, there you go.
But it's
Talk Talking
And
of
he's
the
making,
south,
and I'm going to say he lives down the southwest, but he is making the effort for our first ever meetup at for the Austrian Grand Prix. He's travelling up to London. It's a fair old way for him, but he's looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully a lot of you are also looking forward to it because it'd be great to see you there. If somehow you have missed this, we are at the Hippodrome Casino, just by Leicester Square Station, for the Austrian Grand Prix. We are there on the 10th of July. We're there from 1 o'clock, and we've got a big screen sorted. There's a licensed bar, being a casino, so over 18s only. We've got a competition prize to give away from our wonderful sponsor, Apex Tracks. We're also working on having some maybe little other prizes as well, something else we can give away, which would be awesome. But yeah, honestly, come if you're in London, around London, you want to watch the race, it's free to come along, and it's a free event in London. Come on, how many of those do you get? Food and drink not included.
Danny, you going?
No, I wish, man. I wish. Soon though.
We'll get the man over here one day. Well, we say you joke about it, but we say Dan's making a journey. Chris, you're also making a bit of a journey, aren't you?
I am.
In a week's time.
This time next week, I'll be sitting somewhere around Silverstone, enjoying the beautiful, beautiful weather, cars, women, noise, smell. There's just something about a Grand Prix weekend.
You're right. The smell, I can relate to that.
Yeah,
the smell, it smells different.
There's so much locking up that's going to be happening now with these cars. It's going to be tires smoke everywhere.
Awesome.
Can't wait. But,
Are you this is your 13th
I think it's my
Grand
13th,
Prix, is it?
13th British Grand
Amazing.
Prix, yeah. 13th British. Can't wait. And
What is your favourite memory of Silverstone?
well, I was there in 2008 when Lewis won his first British Grand Prix in the wet. And that was just incredible.
Where were you sitting?
I was sitting at... Where was I sitting? I was sitting at the old style club corner.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was sitting there. General admission, so I was there from 5 a.m.
Wow.
As someone who's been so many times, is it better for fans now with the infield layout or the old layout?
As a fan of Formula One, I miss the old layout. I think the infield has made it a little bit Mickey Mouse, and it's lost a little bit of its flow. It's allowed for more grandstands, which has increased the capacity, which is not a bad thing. The new pit complex is out of this world, and it's no bad thing, but Bridge Corner was something special, and now it's somewhere that everybody stacks their food stalls.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I've walked around bits of the original track. I've only been to Silverstone once, and that was for the classic. My only memory of, I don't have many memories of Silverstone because of that, but I always will remember Brian Johnson of AC/DC rolling a car in a celebrity race qualifying session.
Well, that's rough.
We genuinely thought we just watched a rock and roll legend die.
nice.
It was you see the ambulance come along. You're like, oh no! It's the first time you see him like going through Max and Beckett's, and you see him go through it again, and he's getting faster and faster, and he's cocking a wheel as he's going through it in this little hatchback, and then he goes a bit too hard and rolls it, just through sheer turning of the car, rolls the thing. It was.
No.
I mean, it's phenomenal to watch, but then you are concerned. But then, like an absolute legend, gets out, waves. Hey, yeah, I'm good.
I've made a mistake.
I'll fucking
This is my 14th British Grand Prix.
Oh.
I was there in 2000. Well, first of all, I'll tell you why I remember making a mistake. It was in Lewis Hamilton, was in GP2, and he went 3 wide in Beckett's and overtook 2
06.
cars. Yeah. And I met him afterwards because I had backstage passes to the after show concert.
Mm-hmm.
And I met him, and I said, how the hell did you know you could pull that off? And he just said, "No fear." And I was like,
class.
"No fear." Walked away.
How'd you get those backstage passes?
Well, that was during the World Cup, and England were playing on the qualifying day, and they had it on all the big screens. So straight after qualifying, you would go out into one of the fan zones, and they had the big screens. And at halftime, they did competitions, and one of the questions was, I can't remember, and I heard the guy in front of me whisper it to his friend what the answer was. So I stuck my hand straight up before he could, and the guy picked me, and I was like, "Alan Ball," and you could hear him turn around. He fucking heard me say that, didn't he? So
too quick, man, too quick.
2 backstage passes to the after show concert and met all the drivers. I remember Damon Hill being there, and it was the first ever time I met Damon Hill, and he was the driver I joined Formula One to watch. And he wouldn't come over to me to get a picture. And I was like, "Damon, you were my childhood hero." And that was when he came over. So I embarrassed myself cool. Just to get that autograph.
That's cool, dude. That's so cool.
So you meet all the drivers?
Yeah, and I tell you, the nicest driver I met was Takuma Sato. He
Doesn't
stood
surprise
for
me.
10 minutes, chatted to us. The rest were like up onto the stage, back down, have a quick chat away. Or he stood there and just talked to you for as long as you wanted, told you all about the car, everything, what his future held at the time. And he was just a down-to-earth, nice guy. And in the tent behind us, Johnny Herbert was sat there getting pissed. He was that far gone, I didn't want to approach him.
Oh, no.
Now, Chris, you say you got a backstage pass, but that's not the most exclusive access you've had to a Grand Prix track, is it?
No. I did have an accident in Canada. Well, we got our car from the airport and decided we drove over a bridge. It was towards a hotel, and spotted the track off to one side on one of the islands. So we thought we'll go over and see if we can have a look and see what we can find. We drove over and we were going over the bridge towards the casino. And we were like, "Alright, we'll just tell the police we're going to the casino." And the police said, "Yes, are you looking for the track?" And I was like, Yeah. And he said, "Well, if you just go down there, you'll find it." So we went down this little slip road that went round in a circle and ended up edging our noses out onto the middle of what is now the second DRS zone. I noticed there was nobody there, so decided to set some lap times. So we managed two and a half laps before we got stopped.
I love it. On a Grand Prix weekend, security directed you to where the track was and where to get on.
Sounds Canadian. Sounds very Canadian.
So Canadian.
Yeah. 2.5 laps.
Awesome.
And then when we hit the DRS, we would drop the car, the roof of the car. It was convertible.
What car were you driving?
It was a Mustang, a GT350.
Oh, nice.
So you drop the roof through the DRS, roof back up. But yeah, that was pretty special. We managed it again on the Monday night as we were coming home.
So you rubbered in the track then?
Yes, I did. And I tell you what, we
go.
managed 2.5 laps and didn't hit the wall of champions. Is that a good thing?
Did you? It was 2019 you went as well, wasn't it? So did you manage to get round turn 4 and 5? Okay.
Oh yeah, there was no dramas. I could see there was the potential of maybe something happening there, but I didn't think too much about it. I don't know how Vettel got off it. It wasn't hard to get around that corner. Right, we did it in a Mustang, and it was my mate driving, and he's shit.
That's an American car. They have no handling.
No. It's like Daniel driving his whatever he's got. It's just shit.
Ford Escort.
But no, it was good time. Good times. Canada's one of my favourite ever tracks to watch. But it's the worst ever Grand Prix that I've been to. For way they helped disabled. As most people know, I'm a Raspberry Ripple, so...
So you didn't drive that?
No, I was supposed to. I was supposed to have hand controls in the car, but they didn't have them really.
Oh, man.
Which is why we got the 350, because we kicked up such a fuss. They just said, look, there's all our cars, take your pick.
Well, Chris, it's never like you to kick up a fuss, is it?
No, not at all.
Chris, the thing is, you could get a piece of let's say, track wall art and point it and go, look, that's where I came on the track. But Chris, if you were going to go and get said piece of track wall art, where would you get the wall art from?
Well, I've got to be honest, I would go to apextracks.com, and they are our show sponsor. But you know more about that than me.
I know, and I know you're being completely impartial when you say you go to apextracks.com, but Danny, even you and Americans can spell apextracks.com, right?
apextracks.com.
And spell the .com, but it's spell the .com because Daniel won't know how to do that bit.
COM.
And I think as I'm going to be at Silverstone this weekend, if any of you are there, any of our listeners are coming, drop me a PM and we'll arrange a meet up. Let's make the most of all being in the same place at the same time. And
Tim will also be there as well.
Yeah, so we'll try and hook something up. And also, I think I will try and find something at Silverstone to bring home, and maybe we'll run a competition on the podcast and have something to win.
A DRS sign.
Still the DRS sign.
I got one of those. I'm going to keep it. You see people.
You just get to play the Raspberry Ripple card, aren't you? If they try and take it off you.
You can't get on the track fast enough. You see them all flooding on at the end, and as soon as they're on, they're lifting everything.
Yeah,
it's just crazy. But I'm good. I rent a little scooter, and go around on a little scooter. You go around the back of the gravel trap and get onto the circuit that way. And I thought one year I'm going to go the whole way around with my mate on the back. And we got as far as the bottom of the Wellington Straight and thought, well, that took us 10 minutes. I'm not doing the whole track. So we promptly exited in Luffield.
What you realise that day was F1 tracks are quite long.
Me and my ex-wife, we used to walk Silverstone every year. After the race, we'd walk the racing line, picking up bits of marble and stones.
Yeah.
And Silverstone is one of the few Grand Prix where you can actually get onto the track and walk a full lap if you wanted to without getting any interference from anybody.
That's cool.
I know when I went to Monza, I was waiting for Lewis Hamilton, but my friend walked onto the old banking and went around, which I think would have been absolutely awesome if I'd done that. But I got to get into a mosh pit with Lewis Hamilton. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Nice. Lewis is where I sit is brilliant for like pre-race because you get Lewis running about throwing stuff into the crowd. Just before the pit entry, and the year that he did the crowd surfing and all, and he came running out. Got some brilliant photos of that, like from when he was doing that.
That's awesome.
It was great times. Hopefully, we'll have another great time next weekend. And also, did you see today, Felix Rosenqvist has been extended at McLaren SP?
Yes, and McLaren and Pierre Gasly has been extended officially at AlphaTauri.
That's a mistake, that.
Where did you think he was going to go? Alpine? McLaren?
I was hoping he would go to IndyCar, to be honest.
Gasly?
Why?
His
I wouldn't want to lose. I wouldn't want to lose Gasly to IndyCar.
His career is being ruined
by the Red Bull meat grinder.
Yeah, there's no top seat becoming available for him in the near future. Ferrari ain't going to shift their two drivers. Mercedes may lose Lewis in the next year or two. And Red Bull have already got two multi-year drivers. So where's he going to go?
Well, you just got to hope that someone else can develop a car to the top, but you won't get that AlphaTauri because you always get the number 2 team treatment.
Yeah, the only team really that's going to have a seat opening up would be McLaren. But I expect that one of the McLaren drivers from the States will come across and fill that.
I think it'd be I think it'll be award. I think that's just being lined up. I think it's been lined up from a long way off, and it's going to happen.
Yeah, and I think Felix as well being put into a long-term contract. I think he might be getting prepped. He's young and he's got potential. And let's have a moment of silence.
Just got a brief sighting of my wife. She's never popped on the screen. This is the first time.
And she was naked, so we were all stunned.
Yep.
Daniel, what did you just miss?
No. She's on her way to work right now.
Oh.
Naked?
yeah, that's
naked. The good news is
we got. Well, look,
maybe we should talk about putting some clothes on. Because all we've heard about is a shirtless Dan. And I tell you what, a shirtless Dan could have used.
One of our shirts.
He could have used one of our shirts, or he could have done with winning a signed Alonso shirt.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Yep. We are raffling off a shirt signed by Fernando Alonso.
And it isn't old. It's an Alpine shirt.
It's Alpine, yeah.
It's not
an
an
Alpine
old
shirt.
Renault one.
It's not an old Renault. It's not an old McLaren. It's not an older McLaren. And it's not a Minardi. Although if I think we had a signed Alonso Minardi shirt, that would be
sick.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But no, it's a signed Alpine shirt. It's an F1 Authentics item. It's like I said, it's got the Authentics hologram. You know it's him. It's signed by him, hand signed by him. Tickets are £5 each, and any money that we make on these items, it just goes straight back into Formula One Fans UK in hosting events or in more prizes to give away, to raffle. That's completely how it is. We're completely non-profit. We take no money for ourselves, as you can see by the fact that Dan can't even afford a shirt.
We should point out that this has been paid for by funds that have been generated by the group, buying our t-shirts, our hoodies off our webpage, which is...
Well, if you want to find a link to all of our shops and everything like that, you can find it in the bio of the podcast. There's a little link down there. And, yeah, if you like what we do, then please be sure to head over to Instagram and Twitter and follow at Formula One Fans UK. Go over to Facebook and look for Formula One Fans UK. We've got a page, we've got a group. It's all great. And honestly, we hope you've enjoyed this podcast. If you do, share it with all your friends. And until next time, goodbye.
Cheerio, guys.
Goodbye.